There's a trader out there right now with thousands of trades under their belt and almost no real progress. They tried strategy A for 5 trades, took a loss, panicked, switched to strategy B for 7 trades, lost again, then jumped to strategy C, then a new mentor, then a new indicator, then another high win rate setup. And years later, same charts, same emotions, same account behavior, same frustration. Why? Because they're stuck in what I call the death loop. Most traders don't fail because they never found a strategy. They fail because they keep resetting the counter. Every time discomfort shows up, they abandon the process before their brain has had enough repetition to adapt to it. They are searching for a system that feels right immediately. But here's the truth. No system feels right in the beginning. It only starts to feel natural after your brain has seen it, executed it, and survived it enough times to stop treating it like danger. That's the real gap in trading. Your prefrontal cortex understands the logic. It understands position sizing. It understands risk management. It understands patience. But when real money is on the line, your decisions are not being made by logic alone. They're being filtered through your survival brain, the emotional system that reacts to uncertainty like a threat. And that part of your brain does not speak the language of logic. It speaks the language of pattern and repetition. That's why knowing what to do is not the same as being able to do it. The 20 trade rule. So here's the protocol. 20 consecutive trades using the exact same process. No deviations, no exceptions, no emotional overrides. Same setup, same entry logic, same risk model, same management rules. 20 trades in a row. Not until you get bored, not until you lose twice, not until Twitter shows you a better strategy. 20. Why 20? Because 20 reps is enough to begin shifting a behavior from something that feels threatening into something that starts to feel familiar. Think of it like laying down the first stable wiring for disciplined execution. The more consistently you repeat the same action, the more your brain starts insulating that pathway. That's how a behavior becomes faster, cleaner, more automatic, like a wire gaining insulation. At first, discipline feels forced. Later, it feels normal. And that's the point. The goal is not just to understand discipline. The goal is to make disciplined behavior your brain's default setting. The conflict. Why the first 20 trades hurt. Now, here's the part nobody wants to hear. The first 20 trades will probably hurt. Your brain hates change. It hates uncertainty. It hates surrendering control. It hates doing the same thing long enough to expose your inconsistency. So when you commit to one process, don't be surprised if your body fights back. You may feel anxiety. You may feel doubt. You may feel the urge to tweak things after one bad outcome. You may even feel physical resistance, tightness, restlessness, nausea. And this is where most traders make the fatal mistake. They interpret that pain as evidence that the strategy is broken, but it's not. The discomfort is not proof that something is wrong. It's proof that something unfamiliar is being installed. The pain isn't a bug. It's the feeling of growth. I once heard it explained through a trader named Sophia. For her, the first few trades felt unbearable. By trade 8, she was second-guessing everything. By trade 12, she felt physically sick placing entries. By trade 18, she still felt tension every time price moved against her. But then something changed. By trade 20, the emotional charge started fading. Not because she found a magical strategy, because her nervous system had finally stopped treating execution like a threat. That's what repetition does. It doesn't just train your hands, it trains your biology. What happens at trade number 21? And then comes the shift. Trade number 21. This is where something strange starts to happen. A win no longer gives you a huge emotional high. A loss no longer devastates you. You still care, but you're no longer hijacked. That's when trading starts becoming boring. And that's a good thing, because boring is beautiful. When trading stops feeling dramatic, it usually means you've stopped using it for emotional stimulation. Now you're finally operating like a professional. At this stage, pattern recognition also starts to change. Before repetition, every candle feels like a separate problem to solve. You stare at each move trying to decode the market piece by piece. But after enough reps, you stop reading letters and start reading words. You stop obsessing over every candle because now your brain recognizes the larger structure. The setup becomes familiar, cleaner, faster, more intuitive, and maybe most importantly, your relationship with losses changes. A loss stops feeling like punishment. It stops feeling personal. It starts feeling like a business expense. That's all it is. If you run a business, you pay rent, you pay software, you pay overhead. In trading, properly managed losses are the cost of staying in business long enough to realize your edge. That shift is everything. Because once a loss becomes an expense instead of an identity wound, execution becomes easier. The core lesson: become the perfect executive. Here's the lesson most traders spend years avoiding. The strategy is not the edge. Your ability to execute the strategy is the edge. Two traders can have the exact same setup. One follows it with precision, the other overrides it with fear, greed, hesitation, and impulse. Same strategy, different outcome. Why? Because execution is what separates knowledge from performance. So stop trying to become a trading genius. Stop trying to be the person who always predicts the next move. Instead, become something much more powerful: a perfect executive. A person who does what they said they would do. A person who can be trusted under pressure. A person who doesn't negotiate with their emotions every 5 minutes. That is the real edge. Call to action. So here's the challenge. Stop searching for the Holy Grail. Pick one setup, one process, one framework, and commit to 20 consecutive trades. No switching, no modifying, no emotional editing, just execution. Because the goal of those 20 trades is not to prove the strategy, it's to prove you. To prove that you are capable of consistency, to prove that you can be trusted with your own rules. Because identity precedes behavior, and every trade you execute correctly is evidence. Evidence that you are becoming the kind of trader who doesn't need chaos to act, the kind of trader who doesn't run at the first sign of discomfort, the kind of trader who can finally trust themselves. And when that happens, everything changes.